Welcome to the Big Apple School podcast. My name is Ken,
And my name is Maria.
and today we're going to talk about emotions.
Great topic. So let's start.
Absolutely. Maria, are you an emotional person?
Well, I guess I am, but it doesn't necessarily mean that all people around will see my emotions, but inside, I'm a very emotional person. And so I think that this is more of a good thing because emotions help me feel alive, feel human, not like a robot or something like that. What about you?
Well, I feel the same way because to be emotional, you're simply expressing how you feel at the moment. I don't necessarily see it as something bad, although anything and everything in excess can be also not so good. So what I'm trying to say here is that it's fine to be emotional, but there's a place and time, I guess.
Yeah, right. And when we speak about emotional people, we mean what emotions are we speaking about?
Well,
all of them.
right.
Negative and positive,
Right.
right? Yeah. Okay.
To be happy, sad, angry even.
Do you think that you can become excessively happy?
Well,
like ecstatic or something?
I would say like being over the moon, especially when something great happens in your life, when you get married, for instance.
Yeah, and do you need to balance here?
Well, in that case, because it's positive emotions, it's fine.
Okay.
But if it's negative emotions such as anger or sadness, then anything in excess in that case, then it wouldn't be good for you.
Okay, so now you are more like a balanced person.
Yeah.
Have you always been like this?
No, I used to be very emotional. When I was angry in the past, you would really see it in my face, with my actions. Even when I'm, for example, sad, you would feel it.
Okay.
Or when I'm happy, well, of course, everybody, was also happy for me when I was happy before because I tend to become talkative and more, I would say, jubilant.
Okay.
Now, I hate to ask this because it sounds a bit stereotypical, but are women more emotional than men?
Well, maybe it sounds like a stereotype, but I would say that yes. Most commonly, women are more emotional than men, and saying that they are more emotional, I mean that they reveal their emotions more. They have this right, quotation marks, this right to express their emotions because men are brought up the way that they need to hide their emotions, to be like brutal guys and tough guys, and boys don't cry concept. I don't know about every culture, but Western culture, yes. I'm not sure about Asian culture.
Well, it's the same case as in my country because men are expected to be, as you've said, tough. You're not supposed to, express your emotions because men should be, for a lot of societies, I would say that showing emotion is a sign of weakness. I know that, some of our listeners may not agree with that statement, but unfortunately, for some societies, including in the Philippines, we think that if you're a man and if you show a lot of emotions, it's taking away something from your manhood.
Okay, but well, it's a bit offensive.
Yeah.
Even being a woman, I find it offensive. Like, you are a woman, you can't behave like this. Of course, you're a woman, that's why you cry. That's really offensive.
And I can totally see that because if I were a woman too, of course, I would feel the same way. It's like,
yeah.
So are you telling me then that I act this way because I'm a woman, I'm emotional? It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, we are all humans, and I think that emotions and feelings are shared. So it's not that women feel something that men can't.
Exactly.
And I know very emotional men. For example, among my friends or peers, so I know men who really are not afraid of showing their emotions, which is quite good, which makes me feel closer to
To
them, like as people,
Right.
of course. And I'm a bit afraid of people who don't show their emotions.
You see, it's even better to be emotional sometimes than people who don't seem to show any emotions.
Yes, because when they finally show their emotions, it's something so scary.
Yeah.
I can't manage it. I know some friends. I have some friends who are very polite, well-mannered, and so on. But when they finally have this outburst of anger or something, it's so terrifying because they were concealing, they were accumulating all these bad, negative emotions, and then finally they outburst with anger. Oh my God! It's better to release it in portions, in doses, I guess.
Then all at once,
Yeah.
at one time.
And speaking of men, sorry for interrupting. I've come across an idea that I don't know about your country, but in Russia, men live. Women live longer than men. Maybe it's because women are. Women have this right to show their emotions, to be emotional, and men need to conceal, to hide it, and it affects their health.
You know what? I actually agree with that because the same case as in my country, women tend to live much longer, and
like
emotions.
maybe 5 to 10 years longer.
Right. And I believe that emotions have something to do with that because if you're the kind of person who tries to hide everything within, so it's like a volcano that's waiting to erupt. And I don't think it's really good for your mental health even to keep all that emotions to yourself. That's why, just like what you mentioned earlier, sometimes it helps to release it in small portions so that it's for your own general well-being, for your state of mind, for your psyche.
And being mentally not very stable, not very healthy, can affect your physical health and can lead to like heart diseases or something.
Correct. So it will manifest in your physical appearance.
Yeah, that's what I tend to believe.
Now, I want to ask, this is a very simple question, but I'm interested to know, what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Okay, I have this perspective, this angle of being a teacher. And as a teacher, I am really happy to see my students' achievements. It's not just words, that's who I am, and that's what makes me happy. That's why I work as a teacher. And speaking of just my life, my personal life, it can be something very simple, like when I remember, you remember this childhood feeling of being happy without any particular reason,
Right.
which doesn't last for a long time, but it's so precious. You can just look at the clouds, for example, and feel this happiness
Oh my
inside.
God.
Clouds or, nature or music. That's what can make me feel happy for a while.
I can totally relate because, you mentioned about childhood. I just remember daydreaming, looking up the sky, wishing to fly like a superhero.
And all your life is like ahead of you.
Exactly. And the fact that children in general, they don't have much to worry about yet. Because all they want to do is to play, to sleep maybe not even sleep because most kids don't want to sleep. They just want to play.
And children like festivals and holidays,
Right.
And that what makes them happy. Now, as an adult, I don't feel so happy during the holidays anymore, which is unfortunate.
Well, as you grow older, I guess, the more responsibilities that come your way, the less happy you become,
Yes.
unfortunately.
Right, but still, some simple things can make me feel happy for a while. Like I said, the nature or the sounds of some music, because it releases your emotions and you feel maybe more, innocent, more careless, and so on.
Well, in my case, what makes me happy? Dark chocolate, a bar of dark chocolate.
Food. Right.
I love it. Coffee, a cup of coffee in the morning. And I don't want to sound cheesy, but being with my friends, every time I hang out with them.
Of course, yeah, a good conversation can really make you feel happy and content and full of energy.
And just like you, being close to nature, every time I go to the forest, maybe lakes, rivers, because there's fresh air, and for me, it clears my mind,
Yeah,
and therefore it makes me happy.
I can sometimes just observe, some who just watch the sky or watch the trees. That's why I liked to live in my previous flat, because I had a great view to the forest.
And one more thing, listening to good songs, especially ones that really make me want to dance, of course.
Uh-huh.
They make
Can
me
you
happy.
listen to the same song again and again and again?
Oh my God, that has been my life.
Okay.
Whenever I like one song, I download it and I can listen to it, just one song all day, all week.
I know that you like singing, right?
Well,
Does it make you happy?
it makes me happy. Unfortunately, I have not been given the talent of singing. As I always tell my students, as a joke, when God was, pouring different talents, I wasn't awake when He showered the
You hadn't had your coffee yet.
yeah, when He showered the talent of singing. I wasn't there.
I think that you can be taught. Develop your ear to music and voice. I believe that as we develop our students' English talents,
Yeah.
so you also can develop your talent of
Wow.
this hidden talent, maybe.
So hidden, in fact.
Okay, so what makes you sad?
Well, the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, but sometimes the weather affects me.
Absolutely. Yes.
I don't like it when it's too cloudy, cold, windy outside. For some reason, it just affects me, but of course, I try to fight it off. That's one. What else? Sad news, depending on what type, but any sad news, not just about me, but people that I care about.
Yeah.
So, for example, the
Sure.
passing of a family member,
Absolutely.
or what else? If somebody failed to achieve whatever goals he or she may have. For example, a friend who wanted to move to another country but wasn't able to do so, then of course I feel sad for him.
So it means that you share this person's emotions, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So is sadness necessarily a bad feeling?
I don't think so. Sadness is one of those human emotions that we naturally feel, just like happiness and anger. Sadness, so long as because it is normal, it is natural for us to feel sad, but it's the way you deal with sadness that will determine if it's going to be bad or not. Because I can be sad, but if I know how to deal with it, how to cope with it, then I don't think it will result into anything that's even worse. Because for some people, they're too sad, like depression.
Yeah.
Then they commit suicide. Then in that case, that is bad.
So we need to see this line, which is quite a thin one. Yeah, this line between being just sad and being depressed, and maybe to ask for help, for professional
Exactly.
help.
And speaking of sadness, how do you deal with it?
Well, I just let myself be sad for some time. Speaking of so-called negative emotions, I don't believe that they are bad, because if you feel it, you need it, and you need to let yourself cope with it, but in a way that is not that is not bad for other people. For
Not
example,
destructive.
not destructive way. If I feel angry, I just let myself be angry inside, and I try to catch this emotion, understand. So now I'm angry, and to understand why, to analyze it. And you need to release this emotion, but of course you don't need to harm, you can't harm your friends or your family members. That's why sometimes you maybe just need to have a pause and not to overreact.
Well, on that note, I want to ask, do people know how you feel by looking at your face?
Sometimes I guess, or maybe most of the time, people cannot, because, for example, as a teacher, I can't be very dependent on my mood. When I come to class,
Wow.
I can't show my depression, anger, sadness, melancholy, anything. Like I'm a teacher.
You're supposed to be professional.
Yeah, for these 2 hours or 3 hours, I'm the role model in some way. In English, for example, and I can't behave like this because it's not professional. But and maybe this influenced my other parts of my life, because as a teenager I showed every emotion that I had, but now I don't. And sometimes people just think that I'm very even temperate, and maybe even cool. You know,
You're level-headed.
yeah, but I'm not. Inside I have lots of everything. What about you?
But I like what you said there regarding going to your class, not bringing any burdens with you, because, you know, at the end of the day, if we talk about teaching, students come to your class to learn.
Yeah.
Whatever personal issues you have to deal it on your own. You don't have to really, you know, express it in the class. And when it comes to, you know, determining how I feel, before, when I used to be like very expressive with my emotions, it was very easy to tell that I'm disappointed, happy.
So people could read your face.
Absolutely. And it was very difficult for me to hide it. But, you know, as you grow older, you master the art of hiding your emotions.
Yeah.
Especially in this career, in this profession, when you have to be, of course, professional in front of your students. So in my case, now I'd like to believe that it's hard to tell. So it's just, okay, I'm here, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do, and that is to teach you, for example.
So, well, do you remember what helped you to become a master of like hiding your emotions? Did you read special books? Did you ask someone for help? So how come?
Well, in my case, I made a conscious effort to control my emotions, because before, really, it was so easy to tell whenever I felt sad, angry. So there was this incident before.
Your willpower.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was this incident before when I was a high school English teacher. My class, they participated in volleyball. Unfortunately, they lost the game, and I was bitterly disappointed.
Okay.
But I tried as best as I could to stay cool for them not to really see that, you know, I was disappointed. But then one of the students came up to me and said, "Mr. Amante, are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then this girl said, "You look sad." And I said, "Really? Oh my God." And after that incident, I tried to practice.
So it was a turning point?
It was the turning point for me to somehow relax my face every time I feel disappointed. Because, you know, as a class teacher, I wouldn't want to affect my students. I wouldn't want them to think that, in fact, I was disappointed.
Well, sometimes children, I guess, also need to feel and to understand that their teacher is a person, is a personality behind this image.
Of course.
You know.
But in that case, when you're motivating them, I don't think it would be nice to see your teacher
right.
melancholic.
They maybe thought that you were disappointed by them.
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't want them to feel that.
Okay, right. I see.
Are you a sensitive person, by the way?
Well, so we shall maybe distinguish emotional and sensitive people, right? As I see it, emotional person just has all this range of the spectrum of emotions, from happiness to anger and hatred and so on. And sensitive person to me is someone who feels things around maybe and lets things come to their heart.
Right.
I am a sensitive person, yeah.
So basically you grasp your surroundings. You grasp whatever emotions or feelings there are.
Yeah. So speaking of being either sensitive or sensible, I'm more sensitive. What about you?
I would say that I am the same. like sensitive, but I'm working hard to be more sensible because, in life, you cannot always afford to use your emotions in every decision that you make. You have to be rational, you have to use your mind, and that's why you have to be sensible. Although we can't help it at times, especially in my case, it's hard to, devoid myself of emotions because as I've said earlier, I am an emotional person, but when it comes to making, I would say, really serious or important decisions, I would like to be more sensible.
So to listen to your mind and not listen to your heart, maybe.
Yeah.
But heart speaks louder.
But then again, you have to remember that, your heart, sometimes it knows no boundaries. It just wants to express itself. But the mind has this logical factor in it that tries to control
and to protect you.
Yeah. So as much as we want to be emotional and, try to not stop our emotions, but at the end of the day, something must be done to somehow
if we speak
control
about
it.
Like this balance between heart and rational mind, there is such a thing as intuition. Do you believe in this? Like feeling of intuition?
Yeah, of course. Because your intuition somehow, not all the time it's correct, but I'd like to believe that most of the time it's correct.
Okay, so do you think that you have it? Intuition?
I think so, yeah. Yes.
Do you remember when it helped you maybe, or when it stopped you from doing something wrong?
There's nothing in particular that I can think of them, at the moment. What about you?
Yeah, well, I tend to believe that I have strong intuition, but I don't know because I'm always balancing between this rational thing and intuitive thing. So I need to maybe to decide on something, but maybe I will still keep balancing.
I understand. Do you find it easy to explain your feelings to people?
Well, to those who are ready to listen to me, then yes, I find it easy to put my feelings and my emotions into words. But it's not always that a person, even who's a close friend or family member, it's not always that he or she is ready to listen to you because people tend to devalue other people's emotions and feelings, like, forget about it, it's nothing, it's bullshit, or why are you so worried, why are you so anxious, it's nothing to be worried about. But if it is your feeling, how can you just I don't know, throw it out of your
or brush it off
head? So what about you? Are you good at telling other people about your feelings?
When I was younger, I used to be like that. I would tell people exactly what's on my mind and how I feel at the moment. But then again, as you grow older, you understand that you have to select the people.
Absolutely.
You cannot just say it to everyone.
Yeah, and people we are all adults, we are all busy, and our friends, even if they're very close friends, they're busy with their concerns and their stuff, their families, children, money matters, and so on. That's why it's not always easy to share.
Exactly. And having said that, in my case, sometimes it's difficult for me to express my emotions or to let other people know, because the truth is sometimes I just don't want to explain. I don't know if I'm just too lazy to do that, but in some way or somehow, I feel like you need to know how I feel. Are you that are you devoid of empathy that you don't understand how I feel? You did something wrong. Should I make you figure it out? You should figure it out yourself.
If they did something wrong, then maybe yes, I would also expect that they would guess.
Do you need to explain? Because in my case, if it's obvious, come on, do I have to tell you how I feel right now when you know for a fact that you did something wrong and you should be apologizing to me?
Yeah, that's what I used to feel and to think, but now I am really trying hard to believe and to understand and to adopt this understanding that people feel differently.
Yeah,
And all
yeah.
people are very different.
Exactly.
So men and women, like children, teenagers, grown-ups, older people. And well, even if we are of the same gender, the same age, same background, still we are very different. And yeah, I try to.
I totally agree because, there are times when you expect people to understand you and then you realize, okay, he didn't get it, she didn't get it. And that is sometimes, I would say, disappointing.
So you sometimes don't want to waste your time explaining.
Yeah. And that's why I just leave it to, okay, whatever happens, happens.
But if you don't share your feelings, do you still have this sense of maybe disappointment, or do you keep it inside of you, or do you release it and forget about it?
Yeah, well, depending on how I feel about the person. If the person is important enough for me, then I would care to eventually open up to him or her and explain how I felt in the past. But if it's somebody who I think I'm not gonna lose anything if we no longer speak to each other.
Okay.
I know it's so bad for me to say that, and I wouldn't want our listeners as well to experience that, but such is life. Sometimes you just gotta let go of some people who are not sensitive enough to understand you, because if you are really a true friend or a member of the family, you should take the initiative sometimes to understand a person.
Yeah, I agree. So we need to it's hard work. I mean, relationship.
Yeah.
Not hard, but work, let's say. And speaking of you, can you always tell how other people are feeling?
I seem to have this talent, I'd like to call it talent, to be able to tell if or how people feel at the moment. I am a very sensitive person. Just for some reason, I can tell, okay, she's happy right now, or he doesn't seem to be so jubilant today. Maybe something went wrong. Really, this is not only true with the people that are close to me, my family and friends, including in my class. So I can tell if, for example, the students are feeling tired. So in that case, what I would do is to try to crack a joke.
Yeah.
Just to break the ice and make everybody feel comfortable.
And it's interesting how we as teachers can influence the mood in the classroom. So, and maybe they all come tired and even exhausted, but then by the end of the lesson, they feel more energetic and they say like, thank you for the lesson, which also gives us energy.
Absolutely. That's why I have so much respect for the teachers that I had in the past who were able to bring that out of us. Because, there are a lot of factors that will always affect how we feel, how we think. And when you enter the class, it's not just sometimes the knowledge that you can get out of it, but how you feel at the end of, for example, the class.
Yes,
but
right.
if the teacher is careful and someone who truly understands, his or her students, he or she should be able to wipe away whatever negative emotions his or her students have.
Yeah, right. So we are not only teachers, we are also like therapists a bit.
Yeah, and there's some psychology involved there. So it's not just, passing down knowledge, but more importantly is
we are actors, we are mentors, we are therapists, we are everything.
We're brothers, sisters, we're like family to them sometimes.
Yeah,
so it goes beyond just, teaching them.
Yeah, and that's why it's a hard job. I mean, to balance between, not to cross the boundary maybe or something, not to be very attached to your students, especially, I guess, when it comes to kids. I don't teach kids now, but I think you can be easily involved in their emotions, feelings, problems, and so on.
Absolutely. Wow.
Yeah. So, and do you think that this is a useful ability to be able to read other people's feelings?
Absolutely. By possessing this ability, you create an environment that's more, I would say, positive. At the same time, an environment that makes each member of that community or whatever environment you're in, this spirit of being one and what else? Just to look out for each other, because we have to show care for one another.
Right. Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
All right. So I guess that's all the time that we have for today.
Yeah.
This has been Big Apple Podcast. Thanks for listening to our topic today, emotions. And we'll see you again next time.
See you. Goodbye.